Hi, I'm Paul Roberts. This is Conscious Counseling 101, and today someone writes in with a very serious problem. And I'm a conscious counselor. I'm going to speak to it, but I'm not a legal advice counselor or such like that. So I'm going to do everything I can to offer what I can offer you. The quick little letter says, okay, I'm being harassed, and my life's being threatened and jeopardized. And he says the cops are corrupt. How do I deal with this major problem that has ruined my life totally? And don't take too long to respond with a way on how to deal with the problem. Well, this person is very concerned. At first he thought, oh, I'm not going to listen to this guy because he won't really care or do anything. He thought I wasn't real, I wasn't genuine. Well, I am. But I have my limitations, just like everybody has limitations. This is perspective consciousness counseling. And so what I will do is I will speak to what I can speak to about your problem. And there's other aspects of your problem that I can't speak to. So, but I'm going to give freely of what I can speak to. So when you have something like this, I don't know enough details to elaborate because what I just read is all I have to go on so far. A clarity of thought is so important and crucial. When you're scared and you're nervous and you're worried, you probably can't think at your absolute best. And I don't blame you. I wouldn't be able to. These are huge burdens to have on our shoulders, worried about our life. I don't know what the actual problem is, but my thoughts would be the only thing we really have control over is who we are and how we relate to ourselves, how we control or manage our feelings, and what we do to talk to ourselves, our consciousness, to guide it. If we're going to be killed, we're going to be killed. If we have an accident, we're going to have an accident. If things don't go our way, and there's some irreversible harm that comes, that I can't speak to. What I can speak to is, until a negative does actually happen, we want to be as solid as we can be. Okay? I'm going to have to reach out there a little bit and give you some advice that I don't even know is going to be appropriate because I don't have enough to go on. If you're hanging around with difficult types of people that are in with troublesome areas like that, gangs or people that do things that maybe they shouldn't do, but they're in difficult situations in life and they gotta figure out a way to make it. They gotta get money somehow. They just don't have the luxury of waiting until things work out better for them. So they find themselves in the situation that they're in and they have to do what they can in that situation. If you find yourself in that situation, one of the first things I would do is say, I'm sorry if that's the case. And I feel sorry for those that are in that situation with you. But I would also caution you to take full advice from them would probably be a good idea because they probably have similar problems and they're probably grappling with the same things. If they've got some street savvy knowledge, maybe listen to them because they probably know more about how to make it in the trenches than I do. But draw the line of how much you'll take. And start thinking about what you can do that they're not doing. What you can do about the power you have inside of you and how you relate to these things. One of the things that you need to do is realize that no one, including me, can tell you anything for certain. No one can know anything for certain. Oh, they can come on like they do. They can seem like, oh yeah, this guy's convicted, this guy's strong, this guy yells it, this guy does good logical arguments. I believe that he knows what he's talking about. He must be more certain than I. No. He's just convicted about what he believes. He's convicted about what he thinks. And he thinks it's the most likely thing that's truth. And he's very solidly founded on it. That doesn't mean it is true. What you've got to understand is you are going to react probably irrationally and over the top in bad ways that could be harmful to you if you're convicted 100% of anything being certain. one of the things I would say to you is, you're fearful for your life. Are you concerned what happens in the afterlife? Or do you just really enjoy your life here and you'd rather have it be smooth and not have these problems anymore because you enjoyed the way you were living? If you're concerned about the afterlife, I would be concerned about who you are and what you think your purpose in life is. And look towards those things, not survival. A quote that I use a lot of times, and you probably have heard it: a day can be a blessed event. A life of a single day can be a triumph. A life of 1,000 years can be a tragedy. How long we live really only matters based on a couple of things: what we do, and what we may still do if we're given more time, and what we haven't done. That's what matters the most. The only thing we can gain by a longer life is a prolonging of finding out what happens after it. The only thing we can gain by a longer life is more joy, if we have it, by living some longer time. But if we're not enjoying our life, you have to ask ourselves, we all have to ask ourselves this. I do too. I'm relating to you in a way that I would relate. What am I living for? Why do I want to go on? Why do I want to be so concerned for my life? If you have a family or a solid basis of a foundation of what your life purpose is in your mind, then I'd be worried, I'd be concerned. If you don't, I'd question, why are you so concerned? Think about it. The way we govern ourselves in this life, in this world, very much depends on what we believe in afterlife, or our purpose here, or whether we're here just to enjoy this wonderful world and keep on enjoying as long as our days will allow us. This is a very two-dimensional life. What I would do is I would say, if I were you, I've got to decide where I come down on this that I'm talking about now. How do I rule? How do I say, this is what I believe? How convicted am I? Is there a little chance that this is also something you believe? Maybe it's in between. Maybe the two are fighting. You just don't know, do you? You want to know, well, how much should I care about the eternal? How much should I care about just staying alive? How much do I know about my life purpose and what I'm here for and what I'm trying to save? These are the types of questions that I have to tell you that you need to be grappling with as far as conscious counseling. I can't advise you to go to the police. I don't even have enough information, even if I was a legal consultant. I can't advise you to stop hanging out with the people that you're hanging out with. I can't advise you to try to make amends to the person that you feel threatened by. I don't have enough information to go on. But even if I did have more information, I really am not qualified to talk about that. There are others maybe that you feel trustworthy individuals that might help you, but I'm not one of those types for that type of advice. You can trust me, though, in this regard. I will be there to talk to as a friend and give whatever I can give for no cost. And all I am able to, with what you've given to me so far, to offer you is to really evaluate your life. Really evaluate what you're doing here on this planet. What your past has been like, what you see your future being like, what compels you to get out of bed every day and keep it going, what got you into this difficulty that you're in right now. Maybe it's no fault of your own. Maybe it's just some terrible circumstance or sequences of events that have made you in the target or the crosshairs of this person that means to do you harm. I didn't ask you anything much about yourself because you were hesitant to talk to me. I'll just give you an example from my life. What I did when I was in a circumstance like this. And please, I don't want you to be offended. My circumstance may sound nowhere near as difficult as yours, but I'm offering you freely from my heart and mind and life circumstance what I can. When I was in about 8th grade, maybe 9th grade, in junior high school, There were these two twins that were threatening to beat me up and stay after school and wait for me. And they were going to pummel me and do whatever they chose to do. I mean, I didn't have any life experience. I don't feel I'd really done anything negatively to them. There once was a scuffle with them, and I defended myself, but that's it. I didn't do anything else. I just not going to let them beat me up on school time, right? So they're hanging around outside of the class that I'm in. I'm staying after school, getting some extra work done on me. One of my English class teachers was counseling and tutoring me, and they finally had to go home. I guess they had to catch a bus or whatever. For some reason, I got to stay after that day, so I avoided it that day. But they're going to be there the next day and the next day, and eventually I am going to have to face those 2-on-1. That even though I was strong and I was an athlete, I might have been able to fight off one of them, but probably not both. Probably would have gotten hurt pretty badly. Maybe my face bashed up a little bit. Who knows? Back then, people didn't go and try to kill you. They just wanted to make an example of you. You know, show that they're tough, you know. This is junior high school. But it was real to me. Well, this is the amazing thing. Now, I'm not going to tell you this is real, but I'm going to tell you what I did and how it affected it. I didn't know what to do, and there was no one I could go to talk to, like you are with me. I just said, I prayed. I said, God, please, if it be your will, take this burden away from me. You know? If there's some way that you can relieve me from having to endure this, take it away. And the very next day, they were gone. I never saw them again in that school. How'd they get there? Maybe they were troublesome. Maybe they were on the short list of people that needed to be expelled and run through school systems and go other places. I don't know. But when I was most in the situation that you're at, that's what happened to me. Now, what if that didn't happen and God didn't just answer my prayer and take them away? One of these days they would have caught me out by the bus stop or somewhere else and they would have pummeled me, okay? I wouldn't have been killed, but I would have been hurt. You may be killed, you may not be killed. If some tough guy is coming at you, I'd say whatever you do, don't try to embarrass him or look tougher than him. I would say just try to avoid it, let it settled down a little bit. Maybe he'll get his mind on other things. Maybe he'll say, you ain't worth it. I don't know, because you didn't give me enough to work with. But right now, free your mind. Think clearly to yourself. Think in a way that no matter what happens, you've got an emotional response, a logical response, a worst case scenario reaction response, so that no matter what happens, you're ready ahead of time for the dire circumstances that may come your way, so that you can relate in the best way possible. Pulling a gun or a knife and trying to defend yourself probably isn't the best way possible, unless they're breaking into your home and you have the home court advantage. I would do whatever I could to not instigate them, to try to lessen and say, hey man, I'm sorry for what I've done or been like in your point of view. I'm going to try not to be that way anymore, man. I'm gonna do what I can to change so I'm not what you think I am. Maybe you can do that. I don't know. I'm just grasping at straws because you didn't give me much to work with. But just have every scenario that you think could play out in your mind, in clarity of thought, as clearly as you can, so that whatever comes down the road and confronts you, if it does, you'll respond in the most logical, rational, peaceful, diffusing way possible. Try to do that. Try to fight without fighting if possible. When you're being pummeled on the sidewalk and you have to fight, I guess you can fight back, but wait till it comes to that. Try to run away first. You know, like Bruce Lee in Enter the Dragon. I practiced the martial art of fighting without fighting. He said, we go to that beach. He puts him out in the boat. He starts to go to the beach. He lets him go. Do that if you can. I'm sorry for your troubles, and I'll talk more to you if I can. I'm Paul Roberts, and this is Conscious Counseling 101. I have to leave it at 15 minutes.